You look so beautiful today.
You look so nice and fresh.
Thank you.
We love everything. I love the makeup. I love the outfit. It's just like perfect.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah, I actually just got like my hair cut. It was like I had one of those like pandemic do's going on, so it was just longer and longer and longer. And I was like, it's time.
It is time.
Well, how many inches did you get cut off your hair?
Oh my gosh, it must have been like 6 to 8 inches. So,
wow.
You need to get your hair cut too.
I know. It just feels so much lighter, literally, doesn't it?
It feels so much, it literally feels so much lighter. So, and I do all sorts of things. I have all sorts of other stuff that I do with my hair. I'm a girl, so I have all sorts of crazy things that I do. I blow it up, I curl it and things like that, and I can still do that with it.
So you're a girly girl?
I'm a girly girl.
She's a girly girl.
I know. She looks like a girly girl.
She does look like a girly girl.
Well, for those of you who don't know about Erin, let's go all the way back to the beginning. Erin, tell us, how did you get into the industry? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, well, if you go like way, way back, I started before I even knew that I could even start doing anything. My mom was a professional ballet dancer.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I kind of started dancing, like, I started dancing when I was 18 months old.
18 months old?
18 months old. And actually, I kind of remember this. My whole thing was, my mom said that I could start dancing as soon as I got out of diapers. This is actually a really funny story. And I have like a big sister, and I really wanted to, be like her, and I wanted to be like my mom. And, I just saw them at the dance studio. And so, that was like the age. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that wasn't like the industry, but that was just kind of like my very first introduction to, just art and artistry and like being an artist. And that wasn't really, dance wasn't really my path. It wasn't like my, what I wanted to be, but that was my first introduction to art. But then I discovered plays and theater, and that was around the age of 7. And I played, I was in Rumpelstiltskin, and I played, what's her name, who has her hair down, and she turns gold into, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the character name right now? She's a famous...
The spinstress? The spinner?
The one who...
turns the hair into gold?
Yeah, the one who spins the hair into gold. It's oh my gosh, not every girl, but many girls are going to kill me if they watch this right now, and they're going to be like, how do you not know her? But anyways, I played her.
Oh, that's awesome. And we have a live chat here. So Rosalinda says, I said awesome, so he always does this dinosaur. So Rosalinda says, welcome, Erin.
Oh, hi, Rosalinda. Hi. Thank you.
And Aaron says hello, and he is watching you from Ireland.
Ireland?
Oh, my gosh.
So
Ireland. Yes, that's my name.
Oh, and then Ricky said, this is from earlier, any of you guys, did you ever see Bloodline on Netflix with Kyle Chandler? Sissy Spacek was in it too. So we just wanted to address that. So then when did you decide to become a professional actress?
I actually didn't decide to become a professional actress until college. I went through, like kind of arts and sports, and kind of did like running and cheerleading and all those different things. And was just kind of, I was a kid for my whole life. It was just kind of, my parents wanted me to do anything, probably the industry, not because they don't want me to pursue this, but because it's not a straightforward path, and they're supportive. But I think that there's just different lives, and so.
Well, it's hard. Let's face it. It's not
What?
I was going to say, let's face it. It's hard. Sometimes it can be a hard life being an actor or an actress, because it's not, like you said, it's just not a straight path. It's like it's what are they, feast or famine?
Yeah. So it's more or less that the protective side of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't want me to, but they're still supportive, and so they were like, be a doctor.
Of course.
So, yeah, and but anyways, I decided in college that this was my thing. And it wasn't until I found it accidentally. Um, I was, my freshman year of college, I was actually redshirting track. And I was a 10,000 meter runner, and I was running and running and running. And I was like, kind of like, why am I running? And I hit this, like, the end of my workout, and I had these shoes, and I heard this music. And it was like pulling me in and pulling me in and pulling me in. And it pulled me into the arts building, and they opened the door, and I saw these, like, this guy teaching ballet class. And it was just like, I have to take class. And I was in my workout shorts and, shoes and, and so, like, this guy was, like, staring at me because these girls are in, like, leotards and tights and this and that. And, he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, can I take class? And he looked at me like I had, like, 5 heads. And I was like, but he saw, like, that I was, like, begging to take class. And, like, in college, you can't just, like, jump into someone's class. But he just saw how much, like, I needed to take class. And so he just said yes. And he ended up being, like, my mentor, like, one of my mentor instructors. And so then I was like, the next day I ended up going into another class, which was an acting class. And, she ended up being the one who helped me as an actor. She helped me switch majors, and I ended up getting a scholarship for theater, like a partial scholarship for theater for college. And that was it. I quit track.
Oh, got it. So you majored in theater then?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Ricky said, to answer y'all's question, Alas was the daughter who spun hair into gold. And he says, I have to start some work. Nice seeing you this morning. Catch you. Thank you, Ricky, so much for letting us know that. So that's the answer. So like you said, this is a very, to say the least, being an actor is a kind of an atypical way to earn a living. What are some of the challenges that you've had? Like Albert said, it's feast or famine. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome since you've been a professional actress?
I would say, like, the biggest part of, like, the feast or famine thing for me is, I would say the feast is, like, artistically, when I'm doing stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in my art, I'm creating, I'm doing things. And so, like, that's the best thing is, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to do thing. And that's, like, my feast is, I mean, yes, there's also the money part, which is good because you can, like, oh, like, literally I get to eat, I get to, I have abundance, and there's that which is actually necessary and important. And I do need, there's that part, but there's also the creative part where, there's the feast of actually having my creativity versus the famine of literally, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And having to pick yourself up and being like, what do I need to do to feed my creativity? What do I need to do to, do those other things? Because when there is that famine of that, there's always other, I don't want to say there's always other work, but there's always other things you can do to monetarily make money. There's, I mean, at least, you can find things to do, but there's the famine of the art and having to, like, always find ways to keep up that creativity.
Well, then, and speaking of that, what would you suggest to people that are, like, watching right now that may want to enter in the industry? How do you keep creative? Is it that you are going to class? What type of classes do you suggest? Are you working with other actors? Do you have scene partners? What type of things do you do to kind of keep that creativity going in a time where you may not be able to necessarily be, working on a show or something like that?
I feel like that's a very individual thing, but everybody's, like, some people find their, each person is different. Like, some people find that other thing in writing, or some people find it in scene studying, or in taking a class. It's kind of whatever it is, or it could just be a completely different outlet of, like, painting, or, it's just kind of like, where are you at in your career too, where you could just be like, oh, I just got off a series and now I want to go learn kind of a different art for a little bit, or maybe I just got off a series and now I kind of want to go learn, like, go brush up on my dancing or whatever it is to add to my art. Or in between, it could be maybe I want to work on my voice and my articulation and go take a voice and articulation class and do that, or work on, maybe it's Shakespeare. Like I love doing Shakespeare, or study with, in a class, or maybe I want to study by myself, or maybe I want to write a series. So it just could be like whatever, in terms of all of those things, or just it could be a networking thing and going to events and networking with people.
So the options are pretty much endless. It's really up to the individual. You can do all kinds of different things. I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be great if you could just be financially set in a way that you could explore those, because it is like show business. So unfortunately, there's the business part that a lot of the artistic people are like, oh, that's such a drag. And that's why they have people that handle their finances and stuff, because it's so hard to deal with all that stuff while you're trying to be creative at the same time. So like I said, in a perfect world, it'd be great if we could have this financial part taken care of for us, because there's a lot of artists out there like yourself that are, they struggle in the sense that I was on a hit series for how many years, or maybe I had a hit movie, but then when the money runs out, you're like, oh crap, now I got to find my next gig. So, I mean, it's challenging. It is definitely challenging in a sense that the making it in the business isn't as glamorous as it might seem. It's like, people think you're like, oh, I'm an actor or an actress. Like, oh wow, how wonderful you're. They think of lavish parties. They think that you live high on the hog. You're eating great when you're actually going from audition to audition to audition. And like Candace is going on. I'm like, oh my God, how can you? I could never be an actor, because when somebody tells me no, or I would be like, oh, that's it, I'm giving up. Well, one no would be like, that's it, no more. That's why I never went into the acting biz or anything. I could not handle the negativity of people just saying, no, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this. I was like, wow, it's just nerve-wracking for me.
Yeah, I think it brings up a good point. What Albert just said is, how do you as an individual handle the business aspect of show business?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's something that I definitely have. I have minutes where I feel like I do okay, and then other minutes where I'm like, okay, I have to get better at this. It's, there's the reaching out and then feeling like, okay, great. There's the networking side of it, and then it's like, oh, I just want to go, run up into the woods and just go work on my craft. Like you guys said, it is a business, and there is that business aspect of it, and having to pay attention to that side of it, and really be like, okay, this is what I need to pay attention to, and are my tools good, and are my tools ready? And that's definitely an area that I have to consistently be like, okay, this is an area that I have to work on even more with. And yeah, I would love to hire someone to do it for me.
Well, that's why they have. There's publicists, that will tell you to. And I, as a personal thing, I will tell a lot of my actor friends. They're like, oh, I really don't want to go out to this party. I'm like, well, don't think of it as going out to. Don't think of it as a party. Think of it as a networking kind of thing where you can actually meet them. You never know who you can meet, because I've said it before. If you want to be a dentist or a doctor or a veterinarian, you go to school, you study, and you become a vet. Bam, there you go. But with acting, it's like you never know where your next contact will be or your next gig will happen. It's like you could be at this party where you're actually networking. So I'm like, when I tell people, they're like, I really don't want to dress up and do my hair. I'm like, I know, but you really have to plug your current thing. So you might meet somebody from the press there, and you can talk to them and set up a gig on a show, or you're looking for your next gig, and you might run into a casting director or somebody. It's just so much different. So when you are going to a party, you're actually working. I go like, don't think of it as fun. Think of it as work. And they're like, oh, when you think of it in that headspace, and when I kind of explain it to certain people that I talk to, then they're like, okay, you sold me. I don't want to go, but I have to go because I want to eat next month or whatever. So they're like, okay, I'll go.
That's so funny because I always thought I was the only one that never wants to go because
No.
he always tells me to go to these things. And he has to like pull me, dragging tooth and
You're
nail.
not the only one.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm the only one. I just never want to go.
No. There's a lot of people that I tell that to. I'm like, hey, there's this great event that's coming up, and they're like, I really don't want to go. I'm like, I know, but so and so is going to be here. I love so and so. It's like you should go and make a beeline to that person if and then meet them and whatever. You could make a great connection.
How often do you go out and do these events, like in the past when it wasn't the current situation, Aaron?
I mean, before the current situation, obviously not during the current situation, but before the current situation, gosh, I mean, I was doing some stand-up before. I would say like once a month, I felt like I did all right, maybe once a month. Yeah,
That's
I would
good.
get out. I feel like I did all right. Yeah.
That's good. Tell us about your stand-up. That's awesome.
I did. I don't do stand up right now. I feel like acting is really just kind of like taken off and taken over. It's something that I did for a period of time. Maybe I'll revisit it at some point, but it's just it was like kind of something. I love exploring different areas of of acting, of industry, of doing things. I've done improv and stand up, and just to kind of see like, well, what is this? What is this? I'm an actor. I like exploring like what try this out, try this on, see how it feels, and it's like I don't know if that's something that if it's like a shoe that I want to like keep on and like keep wearing for a long time, or if it's just something that I'm going to like put on and wear for a little bit and, be like, okay, I wore that shoe. So, I don't know, but yeah, I've done some stand up and I've done some pretty cool places.
Wait, so did you create your own content, and do you have like they call it your hard five, your 5 minutes? You created all that yourself, and what were a lot of the themes that you talked about?
Well, I mean, I definitely had some like just very, I don't know, different topical things and like some like girly stuff and dating stuff.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that brings up a really good point. Just being a creative on the whole, how important, especially like with social media and all these different venues and outlets now, how important do you think it is for actors to create their own content these days and not rely on, for example, the next call, like you were saying, the next audition, the next callback? How important do you think it is? And then what type of content do you think people should be creating today?
I feel like, okay, so I have created my own content. I have a YouTube series out called Shirley and Shelly, which has won some awards. And I won Best Actress at Film Festival. And I feel like it still has been some stuff where people have seen it and it has gotten me some traction, and people have been like, oh, I saw you on this. I want to call you in for this. Or I've seen you on this and I want to get you in for, this and that. And so part of me is like, oh, I guess that does get me in for things. And, this does create momentum, and this does create, all sorts of other things. And it taught me so much about like filmmaking, what it takes, like how to be on set, how to like not be pretentious, how to like operate. And like why maybe I shouldn't be bugging people when, I don't know. I just feel like it just taught me so much how to be a better actor, to like just as a business perspective to other people. So I think that that's a good reason to be creating content. But I felt like after I created that, I really just wanted to focus and work on my craft. So because I want to be like just a better actor. So I don't know. But I do feel like creating your content, if it's the right time to create content, is super important.
So what was the inspiration for creating a series, and what is that series about? I think it's awesome.
It's about two girls figuring out life and making a lot of mistakes in the process.
So it's about life.
It's about life.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's about life. They're roommates, and I love the series. It's a lot of fun. It definitely had, and still kind of has potential to continue. But it just it's a project that's just, it'll always remain like super special in my heart. So yeah, it's a good time if you want to like watch it and stuff like that. It's just super hard to like write, create, produce, star in a series with literally, it was like me just like handling, and then I had like one other person, and we had like no crew or anything like that doing all of that, and then we had one person who was like trying to bring it onto a larger platform, and I was like, I can't do all of, I don't even know how to do, like, I don't know what I mean, they said I knew what I'm doing, but I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, like I'm just like kind of throwing stuff together, and then there's all these people behind me following me, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but thanks guys.
That's crazy. So wait, so you were writing, producing, directing, starring in it. Were you also editing it all together and sweetening it, like the whole shebang?
From this, I was, because we had like practically no money. Well, at first we did this, like everyone did it for essentially no money. Our editor did it. I mean, we did it essentially for no money. And I mean, it doesn't look like it was done for no money. And so I was doing a lot of the pre-edits for the editor to show him what I wanted the edits to look like. So she did a phenomenal job, but she also was a professional editor who had like a regular, you know, job. So I didn't want to her to like be spending all this time editing. So
Sure, sure. So you were doing like rough cut edits after you wrote it, directed it, produced it, starred in it. You would do the rough edits, and she would take it over as a professional editor, sweeten it. And then how many episodes did you guys do?
well, it was 6 episodes and then 12. Well, I didn't direct it. I gave ideas of what it would be, but yeah. So we had 6 full episodes and then 12 teaser episodes.
Wow. And so because it's on YouTube.
Sounds like she knew what she was doing.
Seriously, because it's on YouTube, did you have a specific length? Like you said, the teaser ones were smaller, the 6 real episodes. How long, how big were they? Like 30 minutes or 22 minutes or?
It's called, no, sorry. It's Shirley and Shelly, and Shirley and Shelly on YouTube. And then each episode runs between, so the 6 episodes turns into like a 30-minute, like a pilot series. We just chopped it up.
Oh, got it.
And then the 12-minute clips, each one of those is a 60-second like
Teaser trailer.
Yeah.
So did you guys drop them all at once, or you dropped them once a week, or?
No, I dropped them, like, yeah. So I had them like laid out.
That's crazy. That is awesome.
So if things ever get really like dry in the sense of like finding your next gig, at least you know you can flex that muscle, and you can actually say like, oh, okay. I mean, at least you can say like, I've been there. I know what it's like to work on a series. Or like sometimes you feel like maybe there's not you really want a certain character, that you want to play a certain character, and it's like not coming to you. You can always go out and do it yourself if you have to. I mean, at least you have, like I said, at least you can flex that muscle. It's like, hey, I've done this before. I mean, it sounds like you want to concentrate on your acting, but if you're really like getting frustrated with, I'll keep getting the same role tossed to me after, and I was like, I really want to play this role, you can actually go and write your own material, which is, I encourage other actors to do that as well. I mean, because I've heard actors complain, it's like, I'm not getting the right roles, and then ultimately they're like, oh, I had to go out and find my own job, my agent didn't get me the gig. I'm like, well, ultimately I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of actors. It's like they're going to have to just find their own roles or create their own roles, because if they're not getting those roles.
Yeah.
So tell us more about, you were just saying that you had won like a Best Actress award. Did you submit to certain events? How did all this happen? What type of awards did you win for your series on YouTube?
I think that, I don't even know how that happened exactly. It sounds kind of funny. So it was the whole series, Shirley and Shelly kind of happened very backwards. I had no anticipation of entering it into any festivals or anything. And so my friend Cash, who I believe you had on this show.
Cash.
And,
yeah.
So he and I had met, and he had told me about this festival called Film Fest LA, and he was like, well, I heard you're having a series, coming out. Maybe you should put this into my festival. And I was like, okay, sure. And me, I didn't even know. I'm like, very new to all of this because this is what, like 3 years ago, before I had been on a TV series or anything, and I'm just figuring out things. And I was like, I didn't know that you could win awards at festivals unless if it was an Emmy or Oscar. That's how like brand new to festivals and everything I was. Just so you guys have some backstory. So I just thought, oh, we just go to a festival and we get to go yay, and then we leave. I didn't know.
There's festivals almost every week in LA. There's this festival, the Burbank Film Festival, the Newport Beach There's festivals everywhere.
I just thought that we show up and, I think this is when you and I had like barely known. I didn't think that we like knew each other. I didn't know what a film festival was about. I just thought that you go and you see it on a big screen and then you leave and you say congratulations. I didn't know. So I submitted to it, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool, that was fun, and I left. And then I find out the next day and they're like, did you know you won Best Actress? I was like, what? For what? And then they were like, did you know that it won best web series? I was like, really? And they're like, it won best writing. He's like, really? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know it could win awards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now you want an award for everything, right? Now you're like, I showed up, hey, where's my award? What? You didn't get an award.
Was Shirley and Shelly, was it like, I'm thinking it's inspired by your true life experiences, and that's how you guys got the ball rolling? Like you and a friend? Is that how the whole thing got started?
Well, so we started writing it, and I didn't want it, so she's like wrote that it was kind of like about her life or whatever, and I was like, I guess kind of, but I wanted to write it more like bigger, like kind of more, like somewhat about, but I wanted to make it
grandiose.
I want to make my character crazy.
Oh,
because, like, I'm a little bit more introvert. I'm not like introverted, but like I don't have like my alter ego self is like a big party girl and like out there and crazy and wild and like it's just my other life that I'm not. Like that's just like who I am, and so I made her like a party girl, and so. That's just who Shirley is, and I put her through like all this stuff and like all these things, and so that's just kind of like what I made her, and so I just put her through these like made up imagined things that you can like that a person goes through, and I just kind of came up and which is very, I don't know, imagined circumstances, but stuff that can happen, and but that is real, and some stuff that like I feel like I haven't quite gone through, but like could have gone through, and then stuff that I have gone through, and like just kind of marinated stuff of like who she is, but then stuff that I am, and like just kind of marinated.
So it's kind of like a wacky comedy vibe is kind of what I'm getting from it.
It's not like it's real, but it's it uses comedy to deal with like real stuff.
Got it. There's a show I was just thinking that kind of reminded me maybe of it, like a Search Party. Did you ever see that?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
That's what it makes me think of. So we're going to have to check it out, definitely. And thank you so much, Amazon customer, for just starting to follow us. You guys, if you have any questions for Erin, now is your time, because she is coming to you live right now.
Put her in the hot seat.
Put her in the hot seat. Ask any questions that you want about her career, what it's like to be an actor here in Hollywood. It's 7:48 in the morning, and we are coming to you live. That's right. We are live right here on Sway TV on Wednesday. Let's talk about your show, because you've got a show right now on Amazon Prime that you guys can watch right now. So let's talk about the show that Erin Michelle Soto was on. So tell us about the show, and who do you play?
Well, you got to tell what the show is.
If I say show, I just asked, like, what is the show, and what does she play?
Okay. Which show?
Which show?
So I am on Studio City on Amazon Prime. And I play Christina, who is an actress on the TV series.
That's a stretch. You play an actress, huh?
I play an actress who plays Anastasia on the TV series Hearts on Fire on Studio City.
So it's a show within a show?
It's a show within a show, so I play two characters.
So you play the actress who plays a role on a show that's on the show Studio City. Mm-hmm. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun because I get to,
Who do you like better on the show?
Well, I mean, they're both kind of fun because, like, Anastasia is very confident, and she'll just kind of do, like, well, Anastasia, her main character is very confident and will do whatever, and she has, like, these, like, lovers. And so, it's a soap opera, so, it's, I mean, it's very clean, so it's not like, but it's she's stuck between these two guys, and she's but yeah, she's just very confident, and
is it over the top?
Huh?
Is it a bit over? Is she a little over the top a bit?
Oh, it's very over the top.
Oh, very over the top.
Very over the top.
Because I noticed that your delivery all of a sudden kind of changed. You're like,
it's comedic. It's comedic.
Okay.
The show within the show, it's a soap opera, but it's a comedically done soap opera. And then they also have some other like stuff, and it's that's kind of that. And then Christina, because the show is over, it's real, and she deals with real life circumstances and real topics and real things, and I like that because I get to really just dive into some things, some good stuff.
Oh, cool. Well, like what Albert was saying earlier, and maybe you can elaborate for us. Studio City is a soap opera, but it's kind of like a nighttime soap. What is the difference between something like a Studio City that you can get here on Amazon Prime and something like a General Hospital or a Young and the Restless? Yeah, like the daytime soaps. Can you explain to everybody how this is a little bit different?
Yeah, like, so, how would I explain it? It's a little bit more, I would say, I don't want to say poppy, but the beats move a little bit more like this.
Faster?
Yeah, it's a little bit faster with the Christina part, like the after show. The beats move a little bit like a little bit more, or no, like the soap part is a little bit more comedic, and the other part has like some of the moments move like this, and then some of the moments are very
sounds like the West Wing. When you do this, I'm thinking Aaron Sorkin, where they're talking and walking at the same time. When
some moments are a little bit Aaron Sorkin, and some of the moments are after they're Aaron Sorkin in terms of this, they dive very, very deep in terms of like what kind of depth they go to.
Like Law and Order.
Oh, like Law and Order.
Like Law and Order.
How long have you been on? Long have you been on Studio City?
So Studio City it's technically one season. The Time created a beat, but there was like there's 2 years, but one season. So it's 12 episodes, and I'm on 9 of the 12 episodes.
Oh, got it. So when you first auditioned for this, did you know that it was going to go this long and your character was going to be this involved, or did you just go to the audition like any other audition and say, I'm just going to go and see what happens?
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, I just, like, okay, so I got brought on very, like, last minute, and I just thought that I was going to be there for a quick little hot minute, and then all of a sudden I'm there, and then I was needed for more, and it just kind of kept going, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, it was just, it felt like a great dream come true. So
is the season now over?
So season 1 is over.
And so, and you're coming back for season 2.
I should hope so.
Cross your fingers. Well, let's put it this way: they didn't kill you off, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And even in soaps, if they kill you off, they can always bring you back and say, "Oh, it was a dream. It
Or
was a
you can-
dream sequence."
Or
That was,
she's a twin.
I was about to say that was your twin. So you can always come back as your twin.
Yeah,
You never know.
Exactly.
Soap operas are like that, you know. In the movie Soap Dish, Kevin Kline's character was beheaded, and they go, they sewed the head back on. It was like, so it's
Oh,
fun.
no.
Have you ever seen the movie Soap Dish with Whoopi Goldberg? And you should watch it. It's very funny. And Sally Field and Kevin Kline and Elizabeth Shue, Soap Dish. And it's so
Soap
funny.
Dish.
Watch it. Put on your.
Another list.
Another list.
Another things to put on the list. Now, I know this probably sounds like a very ignorant question, but I don't know. Is Studio City about Studio City, California? Is it about the lives of people that are here in the Valley?
Well, it's not the Valley specifically, but it's about like the film industry, and so they called it Studio City because it'd be weird to. I mean, Los Angeles would be. I don't know. I'm guessing that Los Angeles would be just kind of.
It's the backdrop, the industry. So it makes sense because a lot of actors do live in Studio City.
No, absolutely, and it's kind of the hub for the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you have any say in where, you know, because how ahead are they writing your character, and do you have any say in where the character is going to go, or even better yet, do the fans have any say in where your character is going to go?
I do believe that. I mean, like last year, it seemed like people, you know, a lot of people were commenting, "Oh, I love, Anastasia or this or that." But I mean, I believe that like if characters, like if people are like, "Oh, I love if this happened," or "I love if that happened," or this or that, I'm sure that that would have some sort of influence, So, yeah. I mean, comment on Amazon Prime, be like, "We love Anastasia."
But we love Anastasia to be on fire. Ah! You're like, wow, no. Yeah, sometimes you have to be careful of the fans, I don't like her. She's mean.
Well, do you feel like a lot of times, because we've asked other soap opera stars too, do your fans have a hard time separating you from the characters that you play? Like they think that you're that person or the person on the soap opera. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like thus far, just because I've had a lot of people who have seen it have known me from like other things. They've seen me do Shirley and Shelly or Lifeless or this or some other stuff or stand-up. So it's like they've kind of been able to separate thus far. Some people have seen me on just the show, but they've been able to separate. So I haven't been quite pinholed, that. It'd be interesting though. So.
You've never had a fan moment where when some fan recognizes you from Studio City and goes like, "Oh my God, you're Anastasia." You haven't had that moment yet?
Not as like Anastasia, but I have been like recognized at the grocery store, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're Erin," and I was like, "Hi," and like I wasn't like I just was like in my workout clothes, and I was like. I'm not like in my workout clothes right now.
And then they want a selfie, and you're like, "No, I'm not done up."
It was kind of like I wish I had normal clothes on.
Oh no, that's so funny. Well, let's show everybody.
Froggy.
I have a frog in my throat. Excuse me. Let's show everybody. Actually, you say something while I get a drink.
Okay, let's go to...
You know what? Let's go ahead and show everybody Studio City right now.
Studio City.
So this is Studio City that Erin is in right now, and you can get season 1 available right here on Amazon Prime Video. You can buy one episode in high definition, or you can purchase the entire season. So as people looking at this right now, tell us, what is it like to work with Sean Kanan and Tristan Rogers? Because aren't they just huge legends in the soap opera world?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So first of all,
Tristan,
he's so nice. Like he's an amazing person. When I walked in, he was just, I don't know. He's like really down to earth, really cool person and human being. I haven't worked with him on a scene or anything yet because our characters don't quite like. We haven't had reason to cross paths, but we have been like backstage and had like conversations, stuff like that. So he's an amazing like just person and human being, and I've loved to like just be on a show with him. So that's pretty awesome. And then Sean Kanan, he was actually the very first person who I worked, like he was the very first person who I had a scene with. And it was like, cause he's like anyways, yeah, he's one of the persons who I'm in the show with. And he's just awesome. He's like always so positive and, just like a super motivator and everything. So he's a really great person and human being and just like always has great energy.
Oh, that's so cool. And they are both from General Hospital, right? Are they both from General Hospital?
They've just both done various like soaps. So like I'm not sure Tristan's done, I'm not exactly sure I believe that he's done quite a few different ones, and so is Sean. So it's kind of like, which one have they done of each? I mean, I feel like they've all.
Right. Well, Tristan, wasn't he Scorpio on General Hospital?
A long time, probably before she was even born.
Oh, yeah, but isn't he an Aussie?
He's an Aussie.
He's an Aussie. Have
He's
you
from
met him?
Australia. I've met him several times. Did you know he was he was in the sequel to Rescuers, the Disney movie?
Down Under?
Rescuers Down Under. Have you ever seen
didn't know
Rescuers
that.
Down Under, the cartoon?
I love it.
You never seen it? Oh, well, he plays the Aussie, the mouse, the Aussie mouse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
No, he's been around forever. Like people of our generation, like I remember him in high school watching General Hospital.
Scorpio.
Yes, and he was Robert Scorpio. He was Robert Scorpio.
She's like, what?
You're like, this is way before your time, but yeah. So he was on like every single day, and he had a huge part on General Hospital.
Yep.
Back in the 80s and the 90s and all that. So he's got a huge fan following that I think he probably brought over to Studio City for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that it was my mom when she found out that I was working with Tristan. She was like, "Oh my gosh!"
See, her mom knows her.
Oh, because he's probably like a heart. Well, he was a heartthrob.
He was back in there. That was kind of like during John Stamos' days too.
Oh, he was a heartthrob.
Yeah.
Well, how old is Tristan now? He probably still looks terrific.
He looks okay. I think he's about in his 60s, 70s, something like that.
Wow.
He's 127 years old. That's what.
Oh, there we got it.
Well, he got an Emmy last year.
See?
Oh, he did.
Ah.
See?
And he did a phenomenal job again this year. So
Did he get an Emmy for Studio City?
did.
Wow. That's great. Did anybody else from the show win an Emmy last year, or was it just him?
We were nominated, but he was definitely the winner and well deserving.
Oh, that's so exciting. Let's talk about another project that you've been in that people can see right here on Amazon Prime Video. Tell us about, well, I'll show it to them too. This is In a World that you're in. Now you can rent it here in high definition, and you can also purchase it high definition right here on Amazon Prime Video.
You have to say it the right way though. In a world.
Oh, say it with like that guy.
In a world.
Oh my God.
Is that what it refers to?
Yeah.
No, you got it.
It is. It's exactly what it's from.
Oh my gosh, what is this about?
So it's actually, it was my very, very first project that I ever got hired on.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, it was like my first real project, and I was so nervous and so excited at the same time. Because I auditioned, and I remember just kind of I got the sides, and I just did this funny, not voice, but party girl thing, and party girl voice or whatever, because it's just kind of what came to my head. And then I ended up getting hired, and I got hired by Lake Bell, who wrote, created, and produced. Speaking of creating your own content, I guess she got tired. She wrote, created, and produced. I'm not sure if she wrote it, but she ended up directing her own project and starred in it. And she hired me, and she hired most of her friends on this film, which was, technically low budget for being a feature film of her caliber. And and it's about the voiceover world. I mean, it's scripted or whatever, and it's about what is it like? Like just people like in that industry and what happens and what goes on, and just like people competing against it, and like a father and a daughter competing against each other trying to get this one part, and what goes on in the dynamics of that
In the voiceover world.
in the voiceover world. It's pretty funny. It's Lake Bell's character and the person who plays her father, and then what happens, and then them being like in a world, and so like like her going in a world, and then him being like in a world, and like and just kind of like them competing through the top, like trying to like get there, and so anyways, I play this. I'm like this reality TV star, and so yeah, that's what I play. But it's really funny. But I got that role, and I was so nervous when I first got there, and she showed up, and she just made me feel so comfortable, and I had so much fun, and everybody brought me in like family.
Oh, and I'm sure this has such sentimental value to you because it was your first project, like you said, that you booked, and you get to work with Lake Bell, and it's so exciting. I feel like that is the one guy, right, that would always say that in all these movies. He passed away. In a world where blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Yeah, he was pretty famous for doing that. I mean, there's some people that have made their whole careers on just the voiceover acting, like Billy West and John DiMaggio and people of that nature. You don't know what they look like, but you hear their voice and you're like, you're that dude, you're that guy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that film ended up winning some awards at Sundance. So
oh, really?
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds so awesome.
You know what I'm curious about? Which I would get emails from you was the short-lived or the short snippets of that horror thing that you did. Remember that?
What was that?
She's laughing. She knows what
Yeah. So during pandemic, I wanted to keep creative, so I did this. I got hired by this company, and it was like this app thing, but it didn't like really go. But I had like three weeks to write, create, and produce this 31-minute clips of like a project, and I decided to create a comedy horror film at home. And
you always had the same face in all of them. I was like, what is she looking at now?
And there are 30 of them, but 1 minute each?
Yeah, and so how do you film a comedy horror film at home by yourself when you have nobody to film? You don't have like a director, a writer, director, creator, producer. Like you have nobody film you. So I decided to do it selfie style, as if I'm filming someone like chasing me and coming after me. And so I decided to be like, okay, well, let's do it as if it's kind of like so I started watching things, and I was like, oh, Blair Witch Project. Let's do it.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
So I filmed it like this, but what I realized is there's no editing app tools to film it vertically. It became really problematic. There's only one, and you can't edit sound. So you have to get all of the sound while you're filming. You can edit visual, but you cannot get sound. So all the clicks, tings, rings, like all of those things you have to get while you're shooting. Yay.
So wait, so you shot a horror movie on your phone, cinema verite style, as though it was like the Blair Witch Project. What was the premise? Like you're talking like Blair Witch to the camera as you're going through your home, and certain things happen to you?
Yeah, so basically it was like someone started like stalking me on my phone.
Oh.
And, yeah, and so then I was like, basically I took it as if like I'm a selfie, like I'm like, hey, welcome to my show or this or that, like I'm an influencer. That's what I kind of started out as like I'm an influencer, come join me, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden a stalker starts calling me because he could find me because I'm an influencer. And then from there, he's like, I'm gonna come get you. I'm gonna come get you. I'm like, no, you're not. No one knows where I live. You can't find me. And so then I just start like hanging up and like, I'm like, no, you can't. Da da da. And, you know, like I start just like kind of doing these things, and I'm like hanging up and like whatever. And you know, it's like all like live and you know all these things. And then all of a sudden he like rings my doorbell, and I'm like, and so like just kind of the circumstances of like how did he get here, how did he find me, and then like all these things, and like me opening the door and like searching around and like looking around and like you know all of a sudden, and then somehow he gets into my apartment, and like you know, and so like just kind of getting the fear of like him like finding me, and then like how did he get in, and like just kind of creating that fear factor, and then like all the stuff, and then finally like showing him, and I ended up getting my boyfriend. He comes in. He was like busy. I was like, what are you busy doing? And then, and so then he ended up holding
Knife?
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, so he was like chasing me, but it was like in a funny way, like chasing me around an apartment, but not really. And so he would I just turn around and he'd just be standing there still with his eyes closed. So like it was just like things that like aren't really like happening, so it was a comedy, and so I'd be like, he's chasing after me, and like I'd be like crawling around my apartment, so it'd be like stuff that like you know yeah.
I love this. So when you had your 1 minute little segments, you'd be like, oh, you know, you can't find me, click. And then when you would click, you would actually be clicking off to the end of the segment. So it would leave everybody hanging, right? So then how often did you drop I just find this so fascinating. How often did you drop your 1 minute segments?
It was for 30 days. It was 1 minute. So everything had to be pre-done. Ahead of time. It had to be preset, but also everything, like all the words had to be set exactly time to be finished between 58 seconds and 1 minute and 3 seconds, or certain platforms wouldn't work. So
oh, wow. And you had to map the whole thing out, I'm assuming, from 1 to 30. Like you had a big map on this is what's going to happen on each day. And then incrementally, you did each day until the grand finale at the end. Mm-hmm. So you must have had a ton of people. I would have been really fascinated by that too. Just the style in which you did it would keep people hanging, because it's like a cliffhanger every single day, right?
What do you mean a ton of people?
Like the people that were watching this, that you had them basically, you know, with bated breath, because at the end of each 1 minute segment, it would end on a cliffhanger. Because you're like, oh, you know, you can't find me, click. Well, then me being a viewer, I would watch tomorrow to see if he did find you.
Oh, yeah. No, I got like a couple 100,000 hits, so.
Oh, only a couple 100,000. Only.
That's crazy. I think it's a great, great idea.
So do I. You should do a sequel.
Oh.
You're like, oh no.
Have you thought about doing that? Like doing a different type? I mean, like you said, same format, which I think is just really compelling, and then doing another one, like for, 30 days or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Took a lot out of you? Was it really stressful as well? Is that why? You're like, well, I'm glad I did it, but I don't want to do it again. Is that
it's a lot of work. I have to like ramp myself up and like consider it, like think about doing it again and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, where am I putting my focus? Where am I putting my energy?
Right. Yeah.
I know that like when I'm acting and when I put myself into a character, I get just as much reward. Mm-hmm. And so it's like that creates a lot of reward that way. And, I can do those sort of things, but also like when I create a character, that also creates other rewards and other things as well. And, what am I creating right now? And so, okay, if I can do that in a small, if I am going to do that and I'm going to create something, I'm either going to create something big, or I'm going to, say if I were going to do that and I can do that on a small level, I'd either create it on a big level, like create an entire pilot, so like I may as well do it big, or I'm just going to spend time here and develop a character. So, I just kind of want to figure out, like, what am I doing?
That makes sense, too, because, tell everybody out there here, I can imagine even doing a little segment of 1 minute for 30 days in a row with no weekends off or anything. How time-consuming was that each minute every single day that you produced 30 in a row?
Well, for that, I only had 3 weeks to do that, and that was a lot of work on top of having to like live life as well as auditions as well as everything else. So it was really, stressful. So it was just a lot of that was a lot of work. So, but I was financially getting some back end and stuff like that. But I feel like it's kind of like where is my passion? What do I want? Where is my reward? What do I love doing? Where's my craft?
Well,
And
oh, go ahead.
that's what I feel like everyone should think about. Like, what is your passion? What do you love doing? What do you love creating? And it's like what drains you versus what makes you, what fuels you.
Wow. Well, where do you see and what do you see yourself producing in the future and in the immediate future?
I feel I'm an actor, so it just kind of, those were all things that were done before. So do I see myself anything right now? I don't see that being, if something comes and manifests, it does. That's just kind of how I roll with everything. If it happens, and if inspiration comes, then it will. But I don't really kind of push for it. It had its time. It's kind of like stand-up. That was that for that time, and if it comes again, then it will.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's
Sounds fair.
awesome. Definitely. So now, Erin, if people wanted to, because you've done so much and are constantly recreating yourself, it seems. So if people want to learn about you, follow you on social media, check you out, see what's going on, how would they go best doing that?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Erin Michelle Soto, ErinMichele SOTO, 1L for the Michelle. That's the best place, but then I'm also on Facebook and then like IMDb, as well as Twitter. I might get on, I don't know. I'm still figuring out. Instagram's my best place right now.
No, TikTok, yeah.
You don't have your own website?
I do have a website. Erin Michelle Soto is my website. I might get on TikTok, but I still have to, I'm not really in the creation mode of like creating videos right now. I kind of have my time of producing and creating, and
All you have to do is dance. That's all you have to do, be on TikTok. Just start dancing.
That's like easier said than done for sure.
Just start moving your limbs around. Yeah, there you go. See, there it is. There's your first TikTok video. She was a ballerina.
That's my mom. Yeah, and that's right.
only so much time and energy. And
Okay.
then I know that I'll get down the well, and my perfectionist, I'll be like, oh yeah, I gotta get that video right. And that's my thing. It's like, I gotta get the video right. I gotta get it right. I gotta get it. And I'm like, no.
All right. Concentrate on just the acting then.
Yeah, I gotta focus on my acting.
Absolutely. And for acting, if they want to see you, they can always go to Studio City, which is available right here on Amazon Prime Video.
What's that you got there?
Because we can
Product
see
fun placement.
we can see you all throughout season 1. She has 2 characters on the show.
Christina and Anastasia.
Christina and Anastasia. So you guys check her out, and also you can also see on Amazon Prime Video her first project that she's very proud of. It's called In a World, and it stars Lake Bell too. So that's also available. You can rent it, so you can see it today. You can see it right now, and you can also buy it right here in high definition on Amazon Prime.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes. Yay! So, Erin, thank you so much for coming on today and spending the morning with us. I know we probably woke you up super early.
Oh, it's totally fine. I'm up now. So thank you so much for waking.
I'm awake.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Erin.
Wonderful, wonderful time. And you guys stay with us. We're going to say goodbye